Hi everyone, welcome to our 48th video session. Today we're speaking to Christopher Jones from the Millennial Foundation, and we're really excited about this particular session, especially with Chris's work with youth. But before we get started with the video session, let's introduce what we do at Impaction and the purpose of these video sessions in the first place. So Impaction is ultimately a platform that makes it easier for individuals to make a difference in their local communities. And we offer free resources to get people empowered to being change makers in their local communities. Video sessions are a way that we can have face-to-face conversations with people around the world, with social entrepreneurs in particular, and just ultimately share ideas and also help social entrepreneurs solve challenges in their spaces. So we have a group of students and social entrepreneurs and people in social impact on the call right now. And I want to ask everyone to introduce themselves in 2 sentences or less, and we can get started. So I'm Shivani. I'm one of the co-founders of Impaction. Part of my job is also in public education at Chicago Public Schools, and based on the title, I'm based in Chicago. Dan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Dan Heiniger. I'm with Engagement and Outreach for Impaction, and I am also located here in Chicago.
Awesome. Olivia, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Olivia Kaplan, and I'm the founder of an initiative called Kuliana Consulting, which is a project to offer free student-driven consulting to companies that have a positive social impact.
Great, thank you. Kayla, do you want to go next?
My name's Kayla, and I'm currently a political science student at DePaul University. And my passion is creative expression and helping others express themselves through other creative means.
Awesome, thank you. And Chris, I want to introduce you, and then you can introduce yourself and start with the presentation. Thank you all for being here. So today, we're learning about organic growth from Christopher Jones. Chris serves as the founder and the CEO of the Millennial Foundation, an early stage social impact startup located in Washington, D.C. TMF bridges the gap between academia and industry by providing young, diverse talent with learning and development programs in leadership, technology, business, data, and design. So Chris, if you want to introduce yourself and start with the presentation, that would be great.
Great. I'm Chris Jones. So many Chris's. I go by Chris by default, but if there are many Chris's, I also go by CJ. So I am a founder and CEO of the Millennial Foundation, and we're early stage social impact startup focused on closing the achievement and the skills gap. Glad to be here with Impaction, and I hope that this community will gain some value from my experience in this space. I'm based out of Washington, D.C., and currently I've been a member with the 1776 startup incubator network in DC for about 3 years now. And I think it's time to go into the presentation. All right. So getting it right into it, I want to talk a little bit about just kind of recap on Shivani's highlight of the Millennial Foundation, just mission, vision, values. Going to go into the problem, the market size, talk about our program, the Millennial Accelerator that we're launching, talk about the Millennial Fund, kind of an innovative business model in the social impact space that we're working on, co-opetition, so competition, but in the social impact space, a lot of times you collaborate with folks because y'all's missions are aligned and you all aren't necessarily competing for a finite amount of resources. Traction that we've gained, kind of how we touch on a lot of areas in the space with We Do It All. Join the team. We're definitely looking to attract talent into the organization. How to get involved if you want to volunteer or partner or participate in the program, and then organic growth. ACE, I kind of just coined this right before this presentation, just some, I would say, personal and professional development values that you need to grow organically. And those slides, I intended on adding a whole bunch of GIFs to those slides, so they were a bit funny, but I ran out of time. So, all right, so into the problem. The skills gap could leave a damaging 2.5 trillion impact on the U.S. economy over the next decade. That's a lot of money. On average, these vacancies are costing employers up to $800,000 annually. Hopefully, the Millennial Foundation can get some of that money soon. Currently, men hold 76% of technical jobs and 95% of the tech workforce is white. Women and ethnic minorities receive less than 3% of venture capital funding. So just highlighting that the skills gap is a really big problem for employers, for the workforce, and how diverse the millennial generation is. Did I get into that one, or is that the next slide? Right. How diverse the millennial population is. There are more than 56 million millennials. And we're the most diverse generation in the U.S. history. So by targeting this market and increasing diversity in technology and entrepreneurship, we hope to grow local economies across the country and eventually the globe. So the Millennial Accelerator, it's essentially a pipeline program with a mentorship model. So we, at the top of the funnel, are corporations, and we engage the millennials in their workforce. And we basically say, we'll provide, you all can train the entry-level talent into your organization. And we'll provide leadership development training for you all. And this will help you advance in your career. It'll be a leadership development opportunity. And for the company, it's also at the entry level, we want to make sure this talent is learning the soft and technical skills and learning the company culture to make a smoother transition into these organizations. So essentially, the instructors, we engage them through their corporate social responsibility departments, and the millennial workforce as skills-based volunteers to provide this training to college students, recent graduates, graduate students, and this demographic, they usually pay to upskill their talent at like General Assembly or another boot camp. But with our model, it's a social impact model. It's about paying it forward. So when you get this free training, you don't pay any money. Instead, you commit to do an equal amount of hours in community service. So with this model, we hope to basically, if a college student that's entering the workforce gets training in data science, then they can then train maybe 10 K through 12 students who are middle school students or high school students and help them with STEM subjects and help them with college and career readiness. So really having that 10x return on your investment, not just training one person, but that person paying it forward and training 10 more people. So 2 tracks: enter the workforce, start a venue, learn new skills for free and make an impact in your community. And this is optimized by education technology, and we're working on partnerships, developing strategic partnerships for that. The Millennial Accelerator, this is basically everything I just told you all, but in writing. So we identify talent from diverse backgrounds interested in pursuing careers in technology and entrepreneurship. Instructors are experienced industry professionals who teach participants both hard and soft skills needed to succeed in today's global innovation economy. The sponsors are instrumental across public and private sector. Training, we just talk about, you do 36 hours of classroom training if you're a participant in the program. So you also do 36 hours of community service, and this could be in the education space or a number of other industries like health or finance or environment and sustainability. And our program is industry diagnostic or agnostic. Upon completion of training and service throughout the program, you're also working on a portfolio project, getting real world experience, and you demonstrate those skills if you're on the entrepreneurial track through a pitch with investors and mentors. And if you want to enter the workforce, you're demonstrating the work you've done on the project to potential employers who are also program partners. So one track is full-time, which would be 8 to 12 weeks. One track is part-time, which is 16 to 24 weeks, and it's essentially double the amount of hours that you commit to working on, training service or your portfolio project during that time period. So it's flexible around your schedule. If you want to participate in programs during the day, evenings, weekends, etc. The Millennial Fund. So because we realize how difficult it is to start a venture, as far as if you're a minority, as far as having access to networks or access to capital, we want to make sure that we're raising a fund and investing in diverse entrepreneurs, and making sure they have capital at the early stage, pre-seed and seed rounds all the way to Series A. And this is the way that we partner with angels and venture capital firms who would like to invest in this demographic and source deals. And we also accept, this is through their corporate social responsibility departments, and this is a donation. So 75% of the money that they spend here goes directly into companies, and then 25% goes into operational costs of the Millennial Foundation. So co-opetition, not just competition. These could be, potential exits for us. These folks could potentially acquire us, or we could potentially partner with them and help continue their organizations to grow. But I basically segmented what some of these organizations are focused on by if they're more focused on technology and entrepreneurship, or specifically young professionals, or specifically college students, or specifically high school students, if they have an emphasis on diversity and inclusion, and if they're located in the DC area. And none of these checked all the boxes, but all of them are really good in their own niche. So our program, it really stands out because we're checking all of these boxes. You're learning 21st century skills. You're learning to be innovative within a potential employer organization, or you're learning to launch, scale a startup. We're working with higher education and K through 12, really building that bridge between K through 12 and higher education and having that impact there. That's one of the biggest value adds we have when we're developing strategic partnerships. Diversity and inclusion, of course, and then we're based in DC, which has such a huge network that we've been able to tap into as far as being in the intersection of government, nonprofit, and the private sector. Based in DC, but going virtual programming, we're definitely looking to engage communities and launch campaigns digitally and virtually that outside of the DC metro area or beyond the DC metro area. Traction. So we've done customer discovery. We've seen all of the statistics, but actually going out and talking to corporate leaders in the public and private sector, and asking, is this a problem that you all actually face? Is this a priority? And yes, across the board. Market validation. Are you all partnering with similar programs to provide similar services? Yes. Are you all looking to partner with new organizations to bolster or amplify services that you're currently providing in the space? Yes. Product market fit. This program model, this business model, would you be interested in sponsoring or partnering or participating in a pilot program with us? Yes. Establish partnerships. We've been able to establish some partnerships with nonprofits, within the private sector, with the local government, and with the federal government as well. So we have a lot of good traction. But I am a solo founder. I've been working part-time for 3, maybe going on 4 years. I incorporated the Millennial Foundation in June or July of 2017 and have been working part-time as a solo founder. So everything, I think my journey has been maybe twice as long as what it could have been if I had a team. And I think Impaction is such a great opportunity to build community in this space, because trust me, if you are solo founder and CEO, you do not want to be chief everything officer. You want to have a team. You want all of you all to have specializations in certain fields and make sure you all are maximizing on productivity. So you all can visit our careers page and learn more about these opportunities. How can you also get involved with the Millennial Accelerator launch? We're conducting all kinds of professional development workshops for free this summer, and then launching more robust programs with partners throughout the end of the year. And these programs are going to look like starting out for free maybe next week at the earliest, but definitely beginning before the end of July. Resume workshops, mock interviews, business model canvas workshops, community service opportunities, and the list goes on. So this is really the end of the presentation right here, because I was working on the rest of these slides with each of these kind of values for personal and professional development that I think are important for organic growth. My cousin, his nickname is Ace, so shout out to Ace. All right. Agile, you need to be agile. I really wanted to have a lot of funny gifts. I was going through my phone last night and I was looking at all of these hilarious gifts that would probably be funny to be on all of these slides, but long weekend working. Agile is, you have to be agile. So life happens, COVID happened, and now remote work is mandatory. Before, digital transformation was a buzzword and working remotely was an ideal, but now it is essential and is really driving demand for the work that we're doing at the Millennial Foundation. Authentic. You need to be your authentic self. This journey is very difficult. I think for startups that succeed, I think 97% fail. So coming in the very early days, I think you don't want to get too caught up in all of the negative statistics around, hey, I'm not represented in this space, I'm not being funded in this space. And if you are really passionate about something, even if other people counsel you against it, you should stick to your guns. Commit. I think the number one thing and most important factor to an organization succeeding in the marketplace, raising money, executing on its business plan is your team. You'll have to be committed. Everyone on your team has to be committed. I would rather go on, continue alone if I'm the only one committed than having 2 or 3 other people on the team who have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the door. It really slows down progress, and that's why it's really important to build community, invest in your relationships, and so that you can build that team that's committed to executing on your amazing idea and business plan. Competent. Learning and development, that's at the core of our programming, and it's about, if you do have a great idea or if you do want to pursue a career path and you don't know where to start, making sure learning and development, access to education, you have that so you can always continue to learn and perfect your craft so that you can win in the marketplace. Empathy. So much is going on in the world, COVID, police shootings going viral. Ace, my cousin, he recently lost his mom. I lost my aunt to cancer during COVID, and she was really sick around the holidays, Christmas, and New Year's, and we were all going to see her, and we weren't able to see her during COVID, during Stop the Spread, and we actually lost her during that time. But it's so many difficult times being an entrepreneur, and this is just part of life and something else that you have to deal with. So making sure in your relationships you always are practicing empathy with coworkers and customers and volunteers and friends and family and all of your relationships. Execute. It doesn't matter how great your idea is if you cannot execute on it. And having a team is part of that, and execution is the great deciding factor of who wins and who loses. So I was going to do question and answer, and then I had a couple YouTube videos that I saw on Gen Y and Gen Z that I thought was funny, and we can have a discussion on if there was extra time and we needed to fill. But we can do question and answers.
Awesome, Chris. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, if you could stop sharing your screen.
Oh,
we can,
absolutely.
get to the Q&A. Awesome.
Stop sharing.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. And I love how, you talked about your values, and it was more about, understanding the entire comprehensive network that your organization is dealing with. I had a question more about the customers. I know that, you're helping youth in particular, and you're helping, it seems like businesses be in contact with youth, but can you tell us a little bit more about how your customers are, what the demographics specifically are for the customers, and how they're even finding out about what you do?
Absolutely. So with some businesses, the user and the customer aren't always the same. So in our situation, the user are like students. They're high school students, they're recent graduates, they're college students, and they're looking to enter in the workforce and learn these skills and find a job or start a business, or they're looking to advance in the workforce. Those are the users. The customers are organizations that are investing resources in closing the achievement gap, closing the skills gap. So nonprofits in the space, government agencies, corporations, and individual donors. So at this, through strategic partnerships, we're really lowering the cost to bear on each organization. As a nonprofit, being a tax-deductible organization, we're working on earning 501c3 nonprofit status, tax-exempt status with the IRS. So through those strategically business model as a nonprofit and being tax-deductible donations and splitting the cost with partners makes our program affordable and scalable.
Cool. I kind of want to open it up to the community. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I sort of have a question. So I'd love to hear more about, how it is that you've been attracting student talent, and in what ways you've been going about that to really achieve that organic growth. Because obviously your programs are really cool, but definitely getting the word out, I know, can always be a challenge, and getting your first users can always be a challenge. So I'd love to hear more about how you went about that.
So we're focused on the customers in order to acquire the users. So if you are a nonprofit organization and you provide scholarships to women or minorities in STEM fields, we partner with organizations like that to engage those demographics in programs like ours.
Very cool.
I realized that you're looking for a lot of different team members. What has that search in particular been like for you?
Up until now, we recently launched a new website with Culture Media, and I can walk you all through the website if you want. It's a great website, a lot better. I could probably show you maybe a before and after on the pitch deck and the website, from the website we have up now and the pitch deck that I have now, the befores. But then also we're marketing on LinkedIn. And what I've noticed is a lot of millennials who really, we are entrepreneurial and care about social impact. The economy is not the best. It's not the best time to be an entrepreneur per se, from an economic perspective for millennials. We come out in back-to-back recessions, with both the biggest recessions since the Great Depression, with the Great Recession and with the one we're in now. So a lot of folks, they have student debt, and we have to focus on maintaining our jobs. So a lot of times when engaging individuals who are interested in getting involved with the organization, they might also be full-time in school and working part-time, or working full-time and part-time in school. So what we've developed is a junior advisory board where there's going to be an executive committee and then just general members. And this is going to be a way to engage that demographic of millennials who want to get involved, but they don't have as much time to commit on a full-time basis. So this is voluntary. It's less than 5 hours a week. A lot of what you're doing is you're a brand ambassador, essentially. So you're raising awareness around our brand and your network. And you're doing that in a few ways through contributing to our blog, and adding that throughout your LinkedIn profile, the website blog post, adding that to your LinkedIn profile, and then also engaging with alumni from your college and universities and with coworkers in your workplace around our brand and our mission. So this is a kind of way to, engage with our target audience to attract talent into the organization.
How's it been sort of forming that advisory board so far? Like, what have you found to be the best ways to attract those people who maybe, can really be those brand champions for you?
Really, so I want to see if I can reference one of the values I just gave. Maybe being authentic. So when you go through your academic career, your professional career, and you're networking with people, when, like, for example, when me and Shivani spoke about potentially doing a partnership with one another, Impaction and the Millennial Foundation, and they needed a video series last minute, and I agreed to participate. When you do things like this for people, they remember you. And I really have just tapped into my own personal network, and I've done a lot of networking in trying to grow this business. So maybe connections can be another C, but definitely relationships, and you have to invest in your relationships, and they pay off.
Yeah, I had a question about you have kind of an expectation that the support you give, you pay it forward, right? And the hours that are committed to you, you're committing to other young people. So how is that process? How's that not really enforced, but carried out? Like, do you have local schools that you partner with? Are there classrooms that your participants are going to? And what are kind of some of the results and outcomes of all that?
So we're just working towards launching programming. I mentioned our traction, and programs is not part of our traction. We have some traction, but the next step is making sure we're doing programs with these partners that we've developed relationships with. So, for example, with the DC government, they have an office on partnerships and volunteerism, and I'm working with them to connect with DC public and charter schools, and to provide volunteer opportunities there, and also to provide volunteer opportunities in other areas throughout the government and city, in the health and environment and sustainability and other areas. And then also, really just, I'm not sure if you were asking about all segments of our customer base, or just specifically classrooms and students, or did you want to know how we were like building these connections across the board?
Yeah, so I guess maybe across the board, but as you know, I was real interested in the whole pay it forward. You're getting support, and we want you to extend that out to others that are in need, and especially looking at like the younger students. I think you mentioned, and the K through 12. Just inspiring the young minds to know that this is an option for them. And I'm imagining people who are entrepreneurs that you're supporting that are paying it forward are probably presenting on what they do, and that might not always translate to the younger youth that maybe you're supporting. So, and what other ways is the pay it forward kind of expected or carried out?
What? So to clarify, the question was, what other ways was there to pay it forward beyond working with K through 12 youth? Was that the question?
Yeah, or if or maybe I'm misunderstanding how it's done, but it seemed like if you're getting support through your organization, if you're helping me out, I'm gonna pay it forward to others, right? With the hours that I'm given, I'm gonna also give to others, and I'm just curious on how that's carried out.
Of course. So right now, if you're a college student or a recent graduate or graduate student and you want to upskill in maybe a digital field, like data science, digital marketing, cybersecurity, whatever it may be, something that's in demand, you usually would go to a boot camp program to learn more like industry and field knowledge and more than what you have as far as academic background. And you usually pay for this programming. But in our programming, you get access to these same resources. You don't have to pay for it with money out of your pocket. You pay for it in hours volunteered. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And the volunteering can be with you guys and it can be in the community, or is it strictly?
So we partner with organizations throughout the community for volunteer efforts in different ways. So it could be in the healthcare industry, maybe to stop the spread in some way currently with coronavirus, or in education, working with students in K through 12 from low performing schools, or it could be voter registration. Get out the vote, helping doing voter registration campaigns in your communities. So we're our largest value add is developing these strategic partnerships. So one thing I've noticed been in DC, even though we're a hub for nonprofits and businesses and government, these organizations aren't necessarily connected to one another and they don't collaborate enough. And that's kind of we're capacity builders and really that connective tissue to kind of grow the ecosystem.
I like that. That's awesome. Thank you.
So is there like a specific sector? I know you're mostly working in education. In dealing with like K through 12 students and ultimately helping them find opportunities, but you mentioned you'll have partners in healthcare and different sectors. Are there any specific sectors that you're particularly passionate about seeing progress in?
Well, education. That's the number one sector, and the other sectors are those are kind of adjacent. So when you first start out, you want to be niche and you want to be able to grow into adjacent markets, but really making an impact and closing the achievement gap and the skills gap. Those are the two problems that we are set to solve. And doing those community service projects in the education space, especially with K through 12, is how we intend on addressing that problem and closing those gaps.
How are you working with partners to sort of offer this training? Because I know, for example, like General Assembly will do programs where they work with Google, or they'll take these different partners who are those companies that give that training for the direct skills that those companies are looking for. And I'm sure you're doing something very similar, but on a slightly different scale, a little bit maybe more entrepreneurship focused. But I'd be curious to know like how you're leveraging those partnerships into developing more effective training and really helping to bridge that skill gap through those partnerships.
So making sure your partnerships are strategic. So us looking for curriculum partners and technology partners and partners in industries where there are unfilled positions in their field or in their workplace every year, and it's growing. So where there's a large demand. But for example, Inclusive Innovation Incubator is they're based in DC, and they're a partnership with Howard University and the DC government, and they're focused on increasing diversity around technology and entrepreneurship. And I think they have 3 C's they focus on: social capital, financial capital, and technology capital. So they're already doing programs, and that we're partnering with them to amplify those programs throughout our partnership network. And a few of those programs are the Future is Written in Code, Glow and Grow, Inclusive Innovation Lab. And then we're also talking to education technology companies who we want to partner with, so that we own our data when participants and volunteers, when folks engage on the platform, we own our data. We want to make sure we're partnering with technology organizations so that we're owning and sharing that data. And a lot of times, you know, if you're a startup and you bring on a co-founder and they're technical, you can build out the technology yourself. But this is a technology-enabled business, but that I think the most innovative part of our model is really that bridging the gap between K through 12 and higher education. So when developing kind of prototype and MVP, focusing on that before we focused on trying to offer a technology.
Can you speak a little bit about your metrics? How many students have you worked with? You spoke a little bit about your partners. What are your success metrics in particular?
So success metrics are ultimately our program participants and volunteers. Are they performing better in school? Are they performing better in their job? Are they advancing? And we have very specific demographics that we measure. But again, right now, visit our website if you want to get involved. We're starting programs where you can get involved with professional development workshops, workshops around entrepreneurship with lean startup development. You can learn about Agile methodology, design thinking. We have not done programs yet, but we have developed partnerships where now we're ready to do programs. So imagine one like me, if I just wanted to do all of this programming, I wouldn't be able to do that without partners. So all of the work that I've done up until now was developing the partnerships needed in order to provide millennials and with this program that I hope is really going to help you advance in your careers, whether that's entrepreneurial or within the workforce. And I really hope it can, it also helps you make an impact in your community, because that's what it's about as well.
What initially? Go for it.
Oh, go ahead, Olivia.
What initially inspired you to start out this project?
Back to organic growth. In like middle school, high school, when you had to do elective courses, like I was always interested in like business and entrepreneurship. So always trying to draw up a business plan. This is the first, I intend on being a serial entrepreneur and using this as a platform to support other businesses and support future businesses of my own. But this was, out of all the business plans that I've drawn up, I think this one was the most social impact oriented. And when you learn about our generation, millennial generation and Generation Z, we don't just want to make money. We want to have an impact in our communities. We want to make a difference. We want to, have a passion and a purpose. So wanting to solve the problem where access to higher education. I thought that was, come from a single parent household, and all three of us were first generation college students. And that is very expensive, and higher education can be unattainable to a lot of people. So me wanting to bridge that gap, and then also when realizing as an undergraduate student, how when people graduate or go into the job market, how big of a problem we have finding a job or starting our career. So identifying that problem and trying to figure out a way, how can I solve both of these problems in one swoop? And this is what I came up with.
Awesome.
Chris, I had a question. You're talking about, the lack of collaboration. In my experience in nonprofit world and everything, I see a lot of like silos happening and things like that. But something that drew me here to Impaction and what Shivani's doing and our team, I just really wanted to ask the question, what support could our community give to you? Like, what are some of the needs that you'd like to highlight that each one of us and anyone listening to the recording, or how can we utilize what we do and our members to bring that support that you need, because you're doing a lot. So.
Well, I love what you all are doing with my Impaction and inspire individuals to make small commitments in their communities in order to, make a big difference together. So that's part of our audience, social impact entrepreneurs, social enterprises. That's the audience we want to engage. So working with you all, being able to engage the audience in our programming, whether they want to participate in a program and learn and grow their skills, or if they want to volunteer to lead a program. And then also I noticed that you all just launched a job portal where you connect social impact entrepreneurs and organizations with individuals interested in going into that space. So that's a great community to build that I also hope to be able to use to grow our organization.
Great. Would you have like top 2 or 3 needs that you as a organization, like whether it's a support or insight or personnel or skill sets that you guys are looking for just to build up right now, like top couple needs?
Chief Operations Officer, someone that to help manage partnerships. So one thing I realized when speaking with leaders across the public and private sector was that this is a big problem and they need a scalable solution. And I'm one person, even with a prototype or MVP, you still need a team to scale the programming. And right away, one of the things that has to get done in order to execute on the programs is managing partnerships. And one person can only manage so many partnerships, especially depending on how big they grow. So Chief Operation Officer is probably at the top of my list as someone I want to bring onto the team that will really drive growth for the organization.
Okay, great. We'll get on that.
Yeah, and I would say, Chris, really utilize that social impact opportunities portal that we posted even in this chat. And also there's an upcoming co-founder and talent matching event. So a lot of people are just going to be watching, and if they're interested in joining your organization, like we'll make the connections through the event too. So you can apply to pitch and we'll match people that way too. So there's 2 upcoming like huge talent opportunities for you to utilize, and I would really recommend doing that.
I absolutely validate you all's platform, because attracting talent into your organization, especially in the social impact space, especially now that we're remote and you can connect with people who aren't necessarily in your city or region, organize, creating a community and a platform with these where people can connect around social impact is there's a lot of value there, and I'm glad to be in this space. I'm glad that we met, and hope that we can develop a partnership in the near future. Engaging, so with being a member with 1776, that's a great network for if you're an entrepreneur in general. And then I just joined the Seed Spot community as well, and they're specifically focused on social impact entrepreneurs. So it's just so important to engage in communities that are that you're focused on, that your business or organization is focused on. And when you start networking and sharing what you do with other people, and the value resonates with them, they will reach out to you. They will respond to you.
Very true. Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris. I really resonate with what you say, in particular with finding talent in the space. I think that's an overlooked challenge, especially because finances and marketing usually take the top two spots in the challenges that entrepreneurs will face. Everyone's focusing on data and getting to the most people as possible, as quickly as possible, and those are sort of the metrics that investors look at. But what we've learned very quickly is that you can go fast if you work by yourself, but you won't go far without a team. So the talent is an incredibly challenging. Even for me, it was so super unforeseen that it was going to be challenging for me to find the talent and social impact. So thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for joining this call as well. As we were talking about during the call, make sure that you check out the two opportunities, the Social Impact Job Portal, if you're looking for jobs or if you are posting jobs in the space. Also, if you're a social enterprise, participate in the upcoming co-founder event if you're looking to help or provide advice, or if you want to pitch yourself. So we'll choose 7 organizations to pitch, and hopefully connect you with the talent and the help that you need. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for an amazing presentation and for your work in education. We're really excited to have this conversation with you, and thank you everyone for your questions as well. But thank you everyone for watching the call as well. We'll see you next time.